is? What's happening? So we're going to do a little something different on the channel today, since one of my viewers wanted me to do a couple cold starts with the carbureted vehicles that I own. I think I got about 4 or 5 of them that are together running that are carbureted. The first one we'll do is the Jeep project. This is the 79 J10 with a 360 with the Motorcraft 2-barrel with electric choke. It does work. Believe it or not, this truck's got 47,000 original miles on it. This thing starts perfect almost every time. I figured I'd start off with this one because today we are taking the bed off this truck to do the frame, start the frame repair. So normally in this truck, I usually give her one little pump. It starts right up every time. This thing runs so good. 47,000 original miles. And it shows. I love these little Motorcraft carburetors. They always work great. I don't care how long you leave them sit. These things always work perfect. So that's our first one. We'll walk around and we'll do something else. Maybe we'll find another one. Next one on the list, we'll start today. It's carbureted. It's been sitting for a little bit. Is my 1952 Ford pickup with a 302 in it. It's got a cam, gear drive. Actually, this motor is got a lot of stuff done to it. So backstory on this thing real fast was, when I first put this truck together, when I bought this truck, it actually had a 302 in it with 2-barrel intake and all on it. Whatever they had pulled it out of, it was a 77 motor. Whatever car they pulled it out of, they pulled it out and stuffed it in this truck. It was all greasy. It had all the emission stuff still hanging off the motor. Long story short, I got it running. I pulled the intake, timing cover, oil pan, valve covers while the motor was still in the truck, resealed it, rebuilt the 2-barrel that came on the motor that was in this truck. I've owned this truck for 9 years now. The motor that was in it was probably in it for 10, 15 years. So it has a Motorcraft 2-barrel. It has the old style heat riser choke where the coolant lines run past it. Of course, it's got electronic ignition. A lot of people don't like this. It is what it is. So the motor that I originally had in this truck, it broke a piston or a ring and it started using oil really, really bad. So the motor that's now in this truck has actually been in here about 6 or 7 years. This was a motor I had on the engine stand that I bought that somebody else had built. It had a high-rise single plane intake on it with a 650 carb. I mean, it had a lot of stuff done to it. This motor was in a pickup truck, another truck, and it ran really, really well. I was trying to go to a car show event, and the motor that was in here broke a ring or piston. This motor was, I know, ran, so that's how it ended up in here. But I did use my 2-barrel intake and carb and my manifolds, but I left the rest of the motor alone. This motor was only supposed to be in there for the rest of the summer so I could finish out a couple car shows I wanted to go to, and well, here we are all these years later. It's still in there. It runs great, but it's got this big cam and this gear drive in it. I actually have a motor built. I have a bone stock 5.0 roller motor that's going to go in this truck, and it will get the 2-barrel and all back on it. Why? Because it works. And the reason that I put the 2-barrel on this motor from the motor I took out was because all my linkage, everything here is all set up and it all works. My passing gear linkage is all hooked up. This truck's got a 3-speed FMX trans in it, and I wanted to keep it all working. And it does. This thing usually starts right up with no problems at all. This thing is like a Swiss watch. I usually give her, I can usually hear the accelerator when it's pumping. I haven't driven this truck in a couple of weeks. drive this thing. Now I live down here at the beach, but before I lived about 60 miles north and I would drive it down here, but now I live here, so now it gets the most mileage when it goes the other way. But this is a driver. I mean, I drive this truck. There's number 2 carbureted vehicle around here where I started. I would start the Chevy van, which has a brand new motor in it that I put together a couple of years ago, but I ruined the carburetor on that. Now, how I ruined the carburetor on that was really neglect. Brand new 600 Edelbrock. The van's got old gas, and I put a fresh motor in it, bought a brand new Edelbrock carburetor for it, put it on. Truck ran great, did all the brakes on that van, did a bunch of work to it, and then I let it sit for about a year because I just kind of like lost interest in it, like it is now. Well, when I went to bring it down here, it wouldn't run. I could pour gas in the carburetor, get it to start, and it'll somewhat stay running, but it's got one hell of a dead spot in it, and I'm going to guess that I've probably gummed it up from letting it sit. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the van as far as carburetor goes. I might try to pull the carburetor apart, see if I can't save it. I don't know. Kind of really makes me mad. The Thunderbird, it's carbureted, but it's not all the way together, so we can't really start it. We got a 66 F250 out front. We can start that. That's carbureted. Excuse me. Our red Chevy Wrecker, it's carbureted. So we'll go start it. Let's start this old carbureted monster here. How many guys still use an old ancient grasshopper, ancient Chinese secret grasshopper? I'd say she'll start today, because I do have to cut the grass. Well, I'll tell you. You know what's funny? Everything that I got that's carbureted, with the exception of the van, starts. That pile of shit Bronco has been fighting me tooth and nail. That old piece of shit 6-cylinder, fuel injected, it just lost the fuel pump. Now how the hell does all this carbureted stuff always start? Oh, and the Mini Cooper, it's got a bad motor. Let's go find something else to start. Well, it's at the end of the day, and I'm going to do one more carburetor start, and it's a little kind of unfair because I've had it running, but it's the yard wrecker that I use around here. 350 with a Holley 600 4-barrel electric choke, but I just have it held open because honestly, this thing, I've never had to touch the gas to start it. Maybe if it sits for like a week, I might have to pump it once. But usually, like I said, kind of unfair because I've been using it today. But this thing, I'm just trying to stick it back in gear so it don't roll away on me. This thing always starts. It's like a Swiss watch. But one handy piece of equipment. There's half a frame hanging off the back, which we're going to use to fix that Jeep. So I've been kind of cleaning up things around here today. I will do a start video on that once I get the fuel pump and fuel line hooked back up. So look, holla at your boy. I'm tired. It's getting dark. I'm getting ready to call it a day. Peace.